First of all, before working with any weapon, we always want to do the safe thing and make sure this weapon is clear. We've done that, and you look inside, it's clear, and made sure we're good to go. So first things first, let's go through what kind of tools we're gonna need. You're gonna need a 1/16 steel pin punch, a small hammer. You can use a small wood block or the armorer's block like we have here. Anything will do, really. All you're gonna need is a hard, flat surface. This is really a simple installation. If you're familiar with a Glock and you can take it apart and you've worked with it before and you're confident enough, feel free to do this. And if not, it's always recommended that you use a gunsmith or a Glock armor to help with this install. Let's get started. First thing to do is we're gonna take the weapon apart. If you've never taken your Glock apart, there's a lot of videos on YouTube that you can search for simple disassembly. We'll be back in a second with a disassembled Glock. Now we've disassembled the trigger and the trigger body component parts. And so now we're at the trigger bar with the actual trigger, and some people call that the trigger shoe. So using your wood block or your armorer's block, position the trigger components to the part where they're the most stabilized. What you're looking for is the left side of your trigger. You're gonna see a pinhole point. That's the point we're gonna knock out. Now, it's important that everyone understand that once you do this, you will not be able to correctly use that trigger again. You're essentially destroying the plastic part. Now, if you ever wanted to go back and make this weapon a complete OEM part, Glock sells this trigger and trigger bar assembly complete for somewhere between $10 and $11. So once you identify this pin right here, you're gonna take your 1/16 and lightly hit until it comes through. It's that easy. As you see, we've now broken the trigger, OEM trigger bar away from the trigger itself. You've got the component parts here, the trigger, you've got a trigger pin, and you've got the trigger bar. Now we've got the trigger bar disassembled without any of its component parts attached to it. If you decide you want to do any sort of polishing, this is the best time to do it because you've got nothing that's going to obstruct or get in your way. Now this is the point where we install the Ranger Proof Edge Glock flat face trigger. Open your packaging. So here's what comes inside their Ranger Proof trigger packaging. You've got your Ranger Proof trigger, the pin, and then you've got an instruction sheet with a QR code that you can scan on your smartphone, and it'll take you straight to our website and be able to download or see these instructions as we've gone through them step by step. So it complements this video, or you can just use that on its own. Let's get started. Take your trigger bar, insert it into the slot with the RP facing you. Align your holes and insert the pin. The pin should go in relatively loosely up to a point of resistance. At this point, it's connected, but we've got to secure it. Take my 1/16 punch. And that should do it. You really want to make sure you have as hard a surface as possible in order to meet good resistance on the back end when you're driving that pin home. And that should do it. It wiggles correctly, engages the trigger safety correctly. You'll see the pins are flush against the metal aluminum surface. And now it's time for reassembly, folks. And that's it. It's really not that hard. By the time you get this done, this should be no longer than a 5-minute process. And I recognize that we do these on a regular basis because we sell and install so many for folks. But if you're doing this at home and you're comfortable getting that done, you shouldn't be more than a 5 to 10 minute process if you go step by step. That's it. Thank you for purchasing your Ranger Proof Glock trigger. We sure are proud of it, and we're glad that you're now part of the clan. Thank you for watching, and have a great day. Ranger Proof, hard use gear made by Americans and Patriots for everyone.